Welcome to Hormones and Handstands, a functional hormone nutritionist and a beauty editor and yoga teacher's guide to acing the challenges of midlife.
Hello, I'm Pippa Campbell.
And I'm Victoria Woodhall. And this week we're going to be talking about thyroid and eyes. So Pippa, you're going to take thyroid, aren't you? What are we going to be talking about?
Absolutely, we're going to be looking at signs and symptoms of low thyroid, such as loss of outer third of eyebrow,
Who knew?
puffy under the eyes, and constipation.
Oh, I think I've got all of those. And I'm going to be looking at eyes from a beauty perspective. Do you really need an eye cream? What sort of treatments can you get for crow's feet, for wrinkles? And from a yoga perspective, the importance of where we are looking, where your gaze goes, your attention and your energy flows. So Pippa, what have you been up to since we last spoke?
Well, I am looking at the craze on social media at the moment over the last week about kiwis.
Oh, you put me onto kiwis, specifically the golden kiwis.
I love golden kiwis. Well, for a start, they're not as hairy, so you can eat the skin. I remember the first time I put it on Instagram, me eating a whole kiwi. People were like, "What? You're eating the skin?" Because it's not very British thing to do. But yes, you should eat the skin as well because there's a lot of nutrients that are in the skin and all the fiber. But the craze at the moment about kiwis is that they can help you sleep. Now, I think there was one very small study. I think it's been slightly overplayed. I don't think people should rush out and think it's going to cure all their sleep problems. However, kiwis do have a little bit of 5-HTP, the precursor to serotonin, and a little bit, very small amount of serotonin, which then converts to melatonin, our sleep hormone. So I think that's, where all this comes from. However, regardless, I think kiwis are great, high in vitamin C, and they have a good digestive enzyme in there as well. So that helps with digestion and can help with bloating.
I definitely feel like they keep my bowels moving ever since you told me that tip.
What have you been up to, Victoria?
I've had a major breakthrough this week in terms of my bladder because I have a very sensitive bladder. I often have little leaks. And as a yoga teacher who's like really hot on my pelvic floor, I'm kind of thinking, well, this doesn't compute. Why am I a leaker? And I've had vaginal rejuvenation treatments, radio frequency. I have had the Emceller chair, which is this electromagnetic chair that you sit on that strengthens your pelvic floor. They have worked, but the major breakthrough is something so simple. And I've cut down on caffeine. I drink buckets of green tea in the morning. And it's, as you just told me before we started recording, it's a diuretic. So it makes you go to the loo loads. And I think it just has really irritated my bladder. So I've cut right down on the amount of caffeine I have in the morning. I've chosen a low caffeine herbal blend with a little bit of green tea. Can't quite give it up. And honestly, I'd say it's reduced my symptoms by about 50%.
That's brilliant. But yes, I mean, it is. It's something that women don't really think about, and it can be a bit irritating for the gut generally, and the whole sort of digestive tube going down. So that's great. You worked it out.
And it can be a bit irritating for your children too. My children are always like, "Mum, go to the toilet, stop standing there bobbing around like a lunatic," which I usually do.
Oh, it's also really annoying if you're out in public.
And you suddenly tie your shoelace. Have you ever done that? Like you really need to pee and then you have to style it out. And even if you've got no shoelaces on, I must fiddle with my shoe in the
Oh,
middle of the supermarket aisle.
honestly, women's problems,
Mm,
a nightmare.
there we go. But we've got the solutions.
We have. And that's why we are bringing our private conversations public to all of you listening. Today, I want to talk about thyroid, Victoria.
Yes, please.
Low thyroid is a problem for so many women, but so many women don't know they have an underactive thyroid.
Do you see that a lot in your practice?
Oh my goodness, it's probably second to, well, it's about the same. Estrogen dominance and underactive thyroid are the biggest hormonal imbalances that I've seen in clinic in my over sort of 15, 16 years in clinic.
And is that through all age groups?
Yeah, now this is a bit of a generalization, but I would say, and don't quote me on this, everyone, I would say roughly 20% of women in their 20s have low thyroid, 30% in their 30s, 40% in their 40s, 50% in their 50s, and so on. So if you think, well, you and I are in our 50s now, so that's, half of women probably have low thyroid, but it's been either misdiagnosed or just not diagnosed yet. And often it might not show up in labs. And when we talk about labs, I mean sort of like blood test that you have.
Your GP blood test, yeah, because my
Yeah.
GP never says my thyroid is low, but when I go to functional nutritionists like you or any other functional testing that I have, they go, "Oh, your thyroid is a little bit low, and it's your T3 or T4." Or
Yeah, well, it's sort of looking at all the thyroid hormones, but basically, when we are talking about thyroid, it's like our metabolic thermostat. So it controls how every cell uses energy. So if you think for all our body functions, we need energy for our body functions to work, and we have thyroid receptors on pretty much every cell in our body. So think brain, skin, ovaries, gut. It's going to affect so many things. But when you test it with a GP, firstly, you might, if you're lucky, get TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone. But that's only one marker, okay? And that is a hormone that's released by the pituitary. It's like a message that goes to the thyroid gland. We should be testing free T4. So that is the main hormone that our thyroid gland produces, and free T3, which is the active form that T4 has to convert to. So our thyroid gland produces a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of T3, which is the active hormone, but most of it needs to be converted from T4. And 60% of that happens in the liver and 20% in the gut. So then, you realize now we can't separate these hormones. We need to look at how other body functions are, like the liver and the gut, for example. But it's that active T3 we have to test because that's the one that helps with us, helps with losing weight, reduces bloating, stops that hair loss. So that's the one. You need to have a robust T3. But it is all about looking at them together, okay? Because they all do work together, those little thyroid hormones.
so, how would you know if you knew what you were looking for from how you felt if your thyroid needed attention, was too low?
Well, symptoms are actually, it's a good point because symptoms are really important. And we really go on symptoms in clinic. Much as I love blood tests and we do the blood tests, I like to see all the blood tests. We really, really go on symptoms. But because, as I said, this thyroid, we have these receptors on every cell pretty much in the body, it affects so many things. But the big ones are weight loss or just inability to lose weight, or you can put it on really easy. Women might say, I went away for a weekend and I didn't even eat that much, but I put on 4 pounds.
So, opposite ends of the weight spectrum, you just might lose weight, or you might just not might put it on very easily.
Overactive thyroid, they'd be losing weight. Underactive, which is what I'm mainly focused on because that's a really big problem with, from midlife. So underactive thyroid, everything is slow. Your metabolism is slow. You can't lose weight or it's really slow. Then women are trying to starve themselves and they're still not losing weight because actually you need enough energy to get the thyroid working. So it's all that catch, 22. But other symptoms, so we've got constipation. Women don't think about that, and bloating because thyroid helps speed up your metabolism. It helps with digestion.
That's true.
Yeah. So outer third of eyebrow, we're talking anything to do with hair. So it might be your eyelashes, you're losing eyelashes, they're thinning. Outer third of eyebrow, you wash your hair and you just feel that clumps are coming out. Case one. Only one, sorry.
Mm.
And then other things like anxiety, that's not associated so much with low thyroid. And people would think, oh gosh, that's got to be, to do with depression, anxiety, nervous system dysregulation. And then puffy under the eyes, because I said it's like you can get this water retention as well with low thyroid. You get really puffy under the eyes. And clients often say when we help improve their thyroid, oh my goodness, I'm not puffy under my eyes anymore. And cold hands and feet, as I said, this is energy. So they're feeling, it could be cold just generally when everyone else is feeling okay.
I get that Raynaud's syndrome. Can that be linked? When your tips of your fingers go white, like I only have to hold a cold drink for the ends of my fingers to go white.
There are links with thyroid, also estrogen, but even separately from that, women are just struggling with, sometimes even like feeling too hot, but typically it would be those cold hands and feet. Weight loss is a huge one, as I said. And another one that seems to be consistent with almost everyone with an underactive thyroid is fatigue. So I know fatigue is associated with many hormonal imbalances, but particularly low thyroid. And I'd say sort of tired all day, really. So you might have even a really good night's sleep and still don't feel refreshed. But also low libido. Everyone thinks that's only to testosterone. low thyroid as well.
Really?
So I have a
Wow.
thyroid symptom checker on my website. And I recommend anyone who thinks they might have low thyroid, just go and do that questionnaire because there are so many different symptoms. PMS, for example, as well, because of the connection. There's a connection with progesterone as well. So we need enough thyroid to help progesterone.
Wow.
We need enough progesterone to help thyroid work properly, which is why women in perimenopause, so over the age of 40, then find, because their progesterone is declining, that then they're getting low thyroid symptoms the first time, or they may already be on thyroid medication and they find that they need more. So it's about getting to really looking at all the labs, understanding the symptoms, and looking at root causes as well, because stress massively affects thyroid. So it's the root cause, the root cause, the root cause. It's like that functional medicine tree. Stress is it plays a huge role on thyroid and blood sugar dysregulation as well. And because of the interaction with other hormones, that's why women are 8 times more likely to get low thyroid than men. Yeah,
Wow, wow. Gosh, so it's really worth having a look at your, could your thyroid be in need of some support?
absolutely. And I find so in the UK sort of ranges are pretty broad. And even if you have a thyroid result, TSH, it could be 3.5. Your doctor might say that's normal. In functional medicine, we like people to be usually under 2. However, in my experience, women tend to feel better and relief of symptoms when they are around 1 or sometimes just under 1. So it is very individual, but what one person might feel, they might feel way more symptoms and their thyroid is only just slightly underactive compared to someone else.
We did a blood test and you noticed this about me and you put me on some thyroid support. And I mean, along with all the other things that came up in this no, it was a stool test. Or was it a blood test and stool test, I think we
Yeah,
did.
yeah, we did both.
It's so helped my energy levels, just sort of tweaking all these different things. But for thyroid specifically, what can people do if their thyroid is low?
Well, first of all, looking at the foods you eat is really important because thyroid needs certain nutrients to work, iodine, selenium. So think sea vegetables. People aren't really eating many things like that. And selenium, Brazil nuts,
Mhm.
really easy. You could be having 4 Brazil nuts a day, for example. So iodine, selenium, zinc, those help with the conversion of T4 to T3, so that active form. Okay. Then we want to be looking at activation in the cell. That's vitamin A and vitamin D, which I think we all need anyway. So I think those are important nutrients. So looking at the foods you eat, maybe taking some supplements on top. And then, yes, for many women like you, then what we do is a thyroid glandular. So I'm not a doctor, so I don't put people directly on thyroid medication, and we don't need to.
Mm.
So thyroid glandulars are thyroid tissue, animal tissue. They don't contain the hormones, but they help you boost your own natural hormone levels. And they're so, so effective. So we use that a lot in clinic, along with diet, along with those other supplements, and of course addressing stress, as I said. So don't want to be pushing too much one hormone without looking at the others. So you do need to look at adrenal function, and that's where de-stress techniques, yoga, breathing, I think are absolutely fantastic. And, those can be easily incorporated into a day. So it's not just about diet, supplements, it's about those lifestyle as well. We do also test thyroid antibodies. And that's really important because we want to know whether somebody has thyroid autoimmune, because then it's no longer purely a thyroid problem, it's an autoimmune problem. And we want to know why your body has decided to attack your thyroid gland. And then it produces these antibodies. And there are strong connections with the gut, H. pylori, also EBV, Epstein-Barr virus. There are strong links with that as well, and leaky gut. So there's an awful lot of things that we can do. Aloe vera actually is a great supplement as well. That's been shown to really help boost thyroid function, and ashwagandha as well.
Wow. I mean, aloe vera, I just always associated with that with the gut. And it was one of the first supplements. I'm really into my supplements. It was one of the first things that sort of came to prominence, oh gosh, 30 years ago, when nobody really took anything apart from like brewer's yeast and a bit of vitamin C and maybe some cod liver oil. Yeah, we all got into this aloe vera. Tasted like soap, but we chugged it down. Maybe we should revisit an old
Oh,
favorite.
I love it. It's one of those things. It just feels so. All right, I'm a naturopath as well, and to me, that's just a really nice sort of old-fashioned naturopathic remedy and just
Yeah.
feels so natural. So I love aloe vera, as you said, good for so many things, great for the gut, reducing inflammation, healing, the gut lining. So I absolutely love it. But as I said, it's just looking at the bigger picture of what's happening with other hormones. Estrogen dominance I talked about. So there's associations with women who are on HRT, then that can trigger underactive thyroid as well, or worsen it, because of the impact on thyroid binding globulin. So I'm not getting too sciencey here, but basically that binds up thyroid hormone. So if it increases it too much, we don't have as much of that free available thyroid hormone that we can feel. So
So all in all, a reason to deep dive into all of your hormones and really support them all individually so they can work collectively together. And I'm really fascinated that you said also that what you were saying about the eyebrows and puffiness under the eyes being the potential symptoms of low thyroid, because eyes are my subject today from a beauty perspective, and puffiness under the eyes is really common. There are loads of, you were asking me last week, um, do you need a dedicated eye cream? And when we're talking about puffiness under the eyes, I mean, this can be caused by histamine, it can be caused by congestion, and like you said, thyroid as well. There are some eye creams now that really will help you with lymphatic drainage because we want to get that trapped fluid moving. And but you can even just tap under the eyes when you tap your eye cream on. So to your question, do I need a dedicated eye cream? If you've got a specific eye issue that you want to tackle, and I think we can think of dark circles, puffiness, wrinkles, pigmentation, there are dedicated creams for that. And I actually do like them, although I would use my normal serums under my eyes if they didn't irritate. Um,
oh, okay. So you can take out your normal serums then.
I mean, if it does, I'd always experiment. If it doesn't irritate you, if it's not a strong retinoid, or you could definitely give it a go. Remember the skin around the eyes is thin because it needs to be very mobile, needs to be very expressive, and so thin skin shows the signs of dehydration and age faster than thicker parts of the skin on your face. So you don't want to if your normal moisturizer is quite thick, you don't want to kind of overload the under eye area with a really thick cream because it can weigh it down, it can make it congested, all the things we're trying to get rid of. There are a couple of reasons why you might have dark circles, quite a few actually.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit, and I think it's as I'm aging, actually, I think it's slightly thinning skin. And in the winter, I've noticed around my eyes, that get really dry now.
Yeah, so dehydration makes the skin look thinner. You'll see it all over your face when you have a face mask on and you really hydrate. Your face kind of puffs up like a sponge. Same as the skin under your eyes. Obviously, we don't want puffiness. We don't want excess fluid retention. Um, and the other thing is, obviously, you're more prone to fine lines and wrinkles. And for that, you could use a peptide cream that specifically targets wrinkles, or something like a retinoid, a special under eye retinoid. So retinol will thicken the skin, and the reason why many of us can see dark circles is that the veins or the blood vessels underneath the surface of the skin simply become more visible because your skin is thinner or drier. And so thickening the skin with peptides, retinols, and also hydrating. So under eye patches, just simple like hyaluronic acid patches. There's some brilliant under eye patches around, and honestly, they can make such a difference to the skin under your eyes. I just slap a couple on. I like the hydropeptide ones. I mean, they're all good pretty much.
Really? I didn't know that.
I do it in my yoga practice. And honestly, the difference that good hydration can make to your under eye wrinkles is like night and day. It makes you look like you've had some kind of treatment.
And how long will it last? So if I haven't done these sort of under eye patches, but I see people doing them. I thought they were marketing. I didn't realize that.
No, well, no, they just press the moisture in. Well, until your skin gets dry again. But some of them will come with extra active ingredients, so you're pushing extra actives into your skin. And some will come with these tiny little the skincare will be compressed into kind of little like points, like dots or needles. And they're kind of called microneedling patches, and you put those under the eyes. And you usually leave those on overnight or for a couple of hours as the the needles kind of melt into your skin, pushing the ingredients into your skin. And you can use needling patches all over the face, if you've got some pigmentation or some forehead wrinkles, but under the eyes, they're pretty good too. So if you've got, so in the winter, obviously your skin is getting
But I
dehydrated,
just
but
feel a bit dehydrated in the winter around the eyes, a little bit drier.
yeah, well, that's kind of that's normal. So you just need to make sure you seal in your hydration with a little bit of something oily. Otherwise, it's just going to evaporate out again. Especially if you're on an air conditioning on an aeroplane, it's just going to draw all that moisture back out again. So you see these people with sheet masks on aeroplanes, it's literally just all going to come out again unless you seal it in with a layer of something with a little bit of oil on to stop the water escaping. So you've put your eye patches on under your eyes, but in the winter, you're going to be paler. So the contrast between your dark under eyes and your skin is going to be more pronounced. Likewise, if you haven't slept, you're going to be looking a bit pasty, and your overnight you won't have had a chance to kind of detox and settle, do your kind of nighttime, all the processes your body does at night. And so you might have extra congestion and stuff around your
Oh
eyes.
god, yeah. Sometimes I find that my eyes take, like, a good hour or 2 to, like, wake up.
Yeah, yeah, you can just do a little tapping around the orbital bone, the bone around the eyes, just to get everything moving. So really gentle, gentle taps. Um, but some people, specifically slightly darker skin tones, they are more prone to hyperpigmentation under the eyes. So, and you can tell which one you have. You probably know anyway. But if you just press your ring finger against your like dark circle, and then if it doesn't change at all, it's a skin issue, a hyperpigmentation. If it sort of goes a little bit white and then comes back, it's probably a vascular vein issue because you're literally just pushing the blood away. I have a little bit of both because I've got sun damage around my eyes. So, but yeah, age, I'm afraid, skin thins, and congestion, hay fever, if you're rubbing your eyes, if you haven't slept, if you, if you need a little bit of lymphatic drainage, all these things can help to kind of boost your eyes, and using a really nice eye cream. And even the act of kind of tapping in the eye cream can really help.
That's a little free thing you can do, the tapping, but do you rate any of these devices that I see on social media, people doing and getting their serums in, going over something? Like,
Um,
are any of those worth it, or again, is it
I
like
mean, I'd like very gentle jade roller, or you can get those tiny little rollers with they're metal with a little ball at the end, because you want to be really delicate with that skin. You don't want to drag it. I mean, that can help with massage, with cooling. Um, and there are LED under eye patches now. I have them, but I don't wear them because they're a little bit fiddly. You have to stick a sticker on the back of the LED patch, and it goes under your eye like an eye mask. And I just feel like it's a little bit heavy and a bit annoying. Um, but I use something called the nearer laser, which you can go right under your eyes with, and under the eyebrow. That's really good. It takes me like 2 minutes. Puts heat into your skin, and it's been shown to soften lines and wrinkles. I do that every day just because it's super simple.
now 2 minutes? I can do 2 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't like 10 minutes.
yeah. So exactly.
I was using it really, like every day. Stopped using it when I went away. I saw the results when I was using it every day, and now I stopped.
Mm. Yeah, the things with any beauty device, you need to be consistent and do use it for the amount of time that it says to get results. And for this nearer laser, it's once a day or even twice a day, and I do it most days. And I habit stack, so I make my cup of tea, my low caffeine cup of tea, and I sit with my 5-minute journal. I think about all the things I'm going to write in my journal while I'm doing my laser, and that's my little morning routine by the open window if I can.
You said it's hands free.
Yeah, it's so I'm holding a pen here, so it's about the size of this. It's got a little head, and you just go beep 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 beep. It sort of fires little pulses of heat all the way around. You have to hold it against your skin. You press it against your skin, and it goes beep. You move it, it goes beep.
Okay, so I need to multitask. So, for example, you're talking about journaling. So you could have it in one hand and do your journal in the other.
When you could think about it, I would argue also, Pippa, that not doing something else will give you that mindful moment, that kind of
I know, I knew you were
that
going to say
thinking
that.
time. Yeah. There are lots of treatments as well, sort of clinic treatments that I like for eyes. There are polynucleotides, which is obviously salmon sperm facial, as it's called. No sperm isn't actually involved, but that's what it's
Why do
being
they
done.
call it salmon sperm?
Oh, it's been made from what they call the gonads of salmon or salmon trout, and it's a kind of purified fragments of DNA. And the reason why it's made from the gonads is because it's a waste product. So, you're not going to eat that bit. This is fish. Well, the one I have, Plinest, is a byproduct of the food industry. So it's very rich in DNA, but it's also a bit that's goes to waste, and it's highly purified. So there's no kind of risk of kind of zoonotic transmission. But it's very rich in kind of sort of like growth factor stimulants. So it stimulates your skin to behave as if it had more of those natural growth factors in. So there are specific LED sort of like goggles for around the eyes, sort of more like kind of Batman masks. They're a little bit more comfortable to wear. I do love the Botox brow lift. It's I had that with Dr. Ahmed El Muntasar. He's the aesthetics doctor on Instagram. But he puts so around the eyes is where I have those anti-wrinkle injections, because they do soften your crow's feet and the kind of forehead lines. What they call 11 lines between your eyebrows, and the bunny lines. When you wrinkle up your nose and you get this little crease at the top of your nose, you can really soften that. But what he does is he puts it slightly under each eyebrow, and it ends up lifting the brow. So I have a kind of genetically quite a heavy brow. My mum and my grandmother both had a blepharoplasty and upper eyelid at my age. But he manages to lift the brow without you walking around looking super surprised.
I know, you look great.
Yeah, so watch my eyebrows go. There you
My
go.
goodness, look at your eyes. You've got your eyebrows, really, yeah. Oh, mind you, my
And
auntie.
speaking of eyebrows, I know you said the tail of the brow goes if you have
Yeah,
a
not about literally, it can
yeah.
just start tailing off.
Yeah, interesting.
And, women sort of is finding that this is, they have to keep putting their eyebrow pencil
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there.
So what I think having a really good defined brow can take away any unwanted attention from your eyes if you're very self-conscious about eyes and eye wrinkles, hooded eyes. Putting back the definition with something like semi-permanent brows. I know you love semi-permanent brows, Pippa. I've had microblading in the past, but I find it a bit strong
Mm.
because it's actually like a tattoo.
Then they actually put it, they slice, don't they actually, with
Yeah, it's with a
they're
blade.
slicing. Yeah.
Whereas semi-permanent brows is more with like a vibrating pen. It doesn't go quite as deep. So I really like
That's what I
having.
had done with a mineral ink. It was like she sort of drew on, like, with a tiny needle.
Yeah, exactly. So you've had you went to Suzanne Martin for couture brows, didn't you? Yes, so she uses a vibrating needle. I think it's really worthwhile. But as you age, the tail and the bulb of the brow will thin at the same time generally, and your arches will drop. So you can have a lot of that put back with a very artful eyebrow shaping. So that can give you a bit of a sort of an eye lift and add structure to your face, because our natural pigmentation fades. You can have a pigment put back in. And I do really, really love that treatment. There are other kind of in-clinic treatments that you can have, things like you can have under eye filler. I've never had that. It has to be done by somebody really, really skilled, because there's a kind of maze of blood vessels and nerves under your eyes, and you really need to go to a specialist. It's not something I felt the need.
No, that's sort of scares me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then things like, tight lining, using your eyeliner on the waterline of your upper eye just adds a bit of definition to the base of your lashes, makes your lashes look fuller. Maybe having eyelash extensions, which can, if you find your hooded eyes your mascara and your eye makeup always prints on your upper eyelid, having eyelash extensions obviously means you've got no pigment on there, and it adds a little bit of definition. So those are all things you can do to kind of open up your eyes.
So that's skincare, that's treatment. Is there any exercise that you can do to help your eyes?
Well, there is face yoga. I mean, I have to be honest, I don't do face yoga just because I'm
Busy with all the other yoga.
Yeah, I do have yes, yes. I mean, but there is eye yoga, and it's very kind of old, long-standing practice, and it's exercising the muscles in the eyes, and this is really for eyesight. So Paul McCartney was a huge advocate of eye yoga, and he did a YouTube video not so long ago saying it's the reason why his eyesight is so good as he was in his
No.
late 70s when he did the video, and I think he didn't even wear glasses. He was taught by somebody in India, and basically, you just have to you, like, draw a cross with your eyes. You look up left and then down right 3 times on each side, and then so it's like you're drawing a star or a, like the crosses of a Union Jack flag, with your eyes. Yeah, so 3 times each. So you're and then you look into the distance, and then, uh, I look at the tip of my nose, into the distance on the tip of my nose. So if you're just thinking about just as yoga is putting your body through a full range of motion, you want to be doing that with your eyes. And there is actually in like 15th century, there was a text called the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which means light on Hatha Yoga. And there were these six cleansing practices called the Shatkarma Kriyas, and they were cleansing you from the inside to prepare you for the advanced forms of yoga. And one of them is staring. It's called Trataka. It's staring at a flame. You can stare at anything, a flower or whatever, and you stare at it without blinking, and it not only trains your focus, but then it activates all the glands to make your eyes water. So
Yeah.
that is something you can do. It's very, very cleansing for the eyes. And then there's the other thing about eyes and yoga, which is something called drishti. It means looking spot. So when we practice, every pose has a drishti, a looking spot. And what it does is it steadies your eyeballs. So it means you're not scanning around the room, looking at other people, or looking at if you're practicing at home, you're not looking at all the jobs that you've got to do. It means that you're looking at yourself on the inside because you're hearing yourself breathing loudly. This loud yoga breath we do. We engage the pelvic floor, that's called Mula Bandha. So we're really connecting to ourselves on the inside. And by not scanning around, you're really focusing on, well, what's happening with me today? Because the yoga poses are like, I liken them to lenses. So then there's no value in doing a triangle pose unless you're in the Triangle Olympics. It's really just, what does going into this shape or any shape tell me about what's going on with me today? So what lens, so triangle is one lens, so warrior one is another lens. So it's just different ways of looking at yourself. And if you're looking around the room, you're not looking inside. So drishti, gaze point, is really, really key. And also soft, it's not a stare, it's a soft gaze. So a couple of things when you're out and about. So this is your takeaway tip for today. A couple of things when you're out and about. When you're going down the tube in London or any kind of place where there's lots of advertising, there are things there designed to catch your eye, especially now that ads are kind of very fast moving. And you don't have to look at them. They are stealing your brain power and draining your batteries because our eyes are so trained to follow and look. And because we look at our screens all the time, we don't think, well, actually, do I really need to do this? So consciously fix your gaze on something that's kind of not going to kind of drain your battery and give you loads of messages to process and overload you and stop you from doing all the important things you want to do, crowding your brain. So that's one
I
thing.
love that tip.
And then another thing is when you're in a wide open space, so you've got a wide horizon, just see if you can take in as much in your peripheral vision as you can. So enjoy that wide gaze. And that's often when people say they go for a walk by the beach or in the mountains. Why this is so calming for the nervous system is your gaze is broad and soft. And if you think about when you're in fight or flight, you have to have this really pinpoint focus on getting yourself out of danger, running away, watching, being vigilant as to what's happening. And so you can actually trick your brain by going into this wide expanse, thinking, okay, I'm safe. I'm taking in this huge peripheral, I don't need to focus on one thing intently because I'm not in danger. So it really is really calming for the nervous system and relaxing your eyes.
I love
So
that one. I think we should talk about cortisol next time, actually.
yes, we should. Palming, I'm going to show you one more thing. Palming, rub your palms together. So create heat. I'll take my glasses off. So everybody rub their palms together and then cup your palms as if you've got sort of tennis balls underneath your hands, and then put the palms over your eyes. Take a deep breath in, a long slow breath out, and relax all the little muscles around the eyes. You can do a few breaths like this. even long, slow breaths out. Because we carry so much tension in our eyeballs. And we can even use this as a starting point to de-stress, sending first of all, the message to the eyes right by the brain. We don't need to do so much. Maybe look inwards a little bit more.
I love that, Victoria.
I feel just calm just saying that.
I do. Thank you. Honestly, I'm going to go away and do that this week. I think those little tips are really good takeaway tips.
And like you said with the thyroid, stress is so key to managing that, the hormonal balance.
Now, I think next time we should focus on cortisol, and I really want to get from you some fantastic yoga exercises to help with stress, because I do think people diet supplements are really important, but lifestyle is so important when it comes to dealing with stress. So I'd love to talk about that.
Oh yeah, for me that's yoga nidra, yoga sleep. So we can talk more about that next week.
So I'd love to talk about that.
What are you up to, Pippa, till we meet again?
Well, I have got a nice job to do, and that is go through stool test results. So that is analysing someone's poo.
Oh, nice. Well, you've already been through my stool test, not my actual stool, of course, but
No, that went off America, your poo.
it did. I know. My widely travelled stool, it can give you so much information, can't it? It's like a printout from your inner supercomputer. So
Absolutely. We can look at your good bacteria, any bad bacteria, any virus, yeast, digestive enzymes, so many things. So I love that. So that's what I'm doing. And what are you up to?
well, right now I'm going to throw my cat off my PEMF mat. He loves this pulse electromagnetic frequency mat that I've got.
Oh, you're about to say just throw your cat away.
No, I want to go and sit on my PEMF mat, which is like a kind of grounding mat. They're getting really, really popular now. I love mine, and we can talk about that in a future episode. But my cat loves it too, so he's got to make way.
I'd love to talk about that. So until next time, when we tell you more about our private conversations, so we are making them public to you, that's what Victoria and I are doing. And thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode of Hormones and Handstands, don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you love this episode, please do leave us a review. You can also find us on Instagram at Hormones and Handstands for behind-the-scenes content, sneak peeks, and to let us know what you want to hear more about. See you for another one next week.